Hello everybody, welcome to this fabulous class that we've got going on. Really nice because it's there's quite a few of you that I think are going to join at a later date, and remember you can watch this back as many times as you'd like. So lots of familiar faces, it's a pleasure to have your company. We're going to be painting some beautiful roses in this session, and I've got just a very limited palette of colour, and I think it's important when you get something like this to understand how we can mix these colours and which ones work really well together. So first of all, I've got the lightest colour, which is our faded pink. We've also got Sedona, which you can see here is a lovely soft colour, almost sort of salmony. Then we've got fuchsia, which we've got, and finally the green we've got is clover. So they are the four colours that I'm going to be working with. So we're not using any white or anything any darker than the shades that we've actually got here now. Then the other thing that I've also done is I've created a pattern for you. Now this is available as a download. Not particularly going to work to this directly in the class, but I think it'll be useful for you afterwards when you are doing some practicing. So the first thing that I'm going to do, we've got an hour and a half, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint for you. And I'm going to paint with each of these colours individually, and then I'm going to start the teaching. So it's going to take about 10 minutes for me to share with you some of the ideas that I've got, and then you'll have an overall view of exactly what we're going to be painting together. So I hope that works for everybody. So first of all, our lightest shade that we've got is this faded pink, and I've got a number 18 brush. I'm just going to pick up a corner of that faded pink on one side of the brush, and then picking up the Sedona on the other. Just bringing these two together, and it's really important that you keep these corners separate because the colours are quite close to each other. So to get that intensity that we want and that lovely light to dark, but also the highlighting and shading, we need to keep the colours separate. You can see that's what I've really worked on here. So then let's just paint our first flower, and we'll see how these light colours work really well together. So you can see I didn't lift my brush off cleanly just there, so I get those little fluffy edges, but I'm just coming around, picking up the paint as I go, making sure that I keep those two colours completely separate. And although they're very soft and very close to each other, by doing this, you can still see we've got some lovely contrast in the design that I've got here. And I'm just literally looking at how I'm going to join these petals in and bring that design part of it together. And then I'm pulling the paint down my brush. So each time I'm working, I've got this very, very clean finish, and it literally goes from light to dark. And then we're going to go back into here, and I'm just going to go over this little area that I think I didn't finish correctly. So back into the pale and the dark, and I'm almost keeping them separate in the middle of the brush and using the palette to push those two colours together. And then when we then come to do the next layer, I'm putting in a top petal, just one scallop, and then going back over it with a very, very small centre of the flower. And then finally, we'll bring in some more little scallops. I've got a lot of paint there on that with that darker pink. I'm just going to come back. I'm just going to put in a couple of finer scallops just to the sides like this. And then we'll put in those comma strokes. And one to the top round here and one to the top round just there. So it's a very soft rose, but it's very, very pretty. And then finally, I think I probably could do with just another little stroke just there to finish off the design. So you can see how gentle those colours are. Well, now we're going to move on to using the faded pink and the fuchsia. So I've put it over where the Sedona was, and then we'll see what a difference this is going to make. And again, so I'm letting that colour just overlap slightly, and then we'll go out here. And I want this shape to be a little bit more oval than round. So making sure that I'm coming right out to the sides, picking up some more of the fuchsia and that soft pink. And then going to come back in here to where I've got that outside shape. I'm just going to bring that in here and then back round again. And then we're going to come down here once more, round, and then finally to there. And we've still got a little bit of the black showing through, and I'm building up a ridge of paint here. So to get rid of that ridge, I'm laying the brush down. Really lay those bristles down and pull the paint all the way through so it becomes nice and flat. Once more on the other side, and then I can just come back and put in another couple of little petals. They don't even have to be directly over the ones that we've just done. They can be fresh petals if you like. And then let's put another one up here. So we're going to layer in this rose and get lots of detail and layer out to the side as well. And then what's really nice, as you get more advanced with your flowers, you'll do some just single strokes. So you'll put just some single petals in different places, just to give you a bit more variety and choice in the design that you're creating. And then this one's going to have that little bud right up high there, just there. And we're going to come back across the bottom of it. We need a little bit of that paler colour, so I'm just picking up the paler shade, which you'll see there coming into the design. And now we need to finish off this, so we're going to come round just once there and just once there. And we're left with this gap at the bottom, so that needs some attention. And for this one, I'm just going to go onto the bottom of the page and just pull that brush round and let the stronger colour come off first and the lighter colour comes off second. So we've now got two really pretty flowers that are just using those two shades. The third one is going to use all three of them. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to pull the paint down our brush. So again, it's nice and clean on both sides. We're going to pick up some of the lighter shade and some of the mid shade. And I'm going to come into a slightly different area. And I'm going to just side load that pink. So you can see all three of those colours now. So the lighter, then the main colour, and then that pink should still be on the edge where it is there. Okay, so this flower now, when we come here, we'll do that top colour. Just picking up a little bit more of the lighter shade. Each time I've just picked up that lighter shade at this point because I've still got plenty of paint on my brush. As I'm pushing these bristles down now, it's starting to use up some of the paint from inside the brush. So we're starting to, you can see it's using it up, but I've also got some painting ridges. So I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to take off those ridges by laying those bristles right down so it gets nice and clean. Let's see if there's enough paint there to just maybe put out another petal or two. There we go. And then we're going to be ready to reload this brush from scratch. So you can see how I've got, I'm just going to go back over that little bit there. I've got these three little flowers all going on at the same time. I'm now picking up just the light and the Sedona. So coming back onto this part of the palette, and I'm going to put this in the center. And so we're going to go again. I'm not doing a really even wiggle. I've got these wiggles are going out and then a couple of small ones. Then I'm coming back out again and pulling that paint down. Feels like the brush is still creamy, so I'm not picking up any more paint. And then you just fill in that last little gap. Let's put a little petal in there. So we've now got this center to work with. So I'm just going to put in an up and over and around and under. A little bit more of the light colour and some more of that fuchsia. And this one is now going to come in here. And you can see just that hint of fuchsia coming through. And then round the edge, bring those bristles together. If they don't feel tight, and let's turn that up, and we'll put just that one stroke round there. So you can see here the 3 little flowers that I've got, and you've got this one that's very pale, this one's a little bit more vibrant, and the one where we've got that combination of colours. And this is what I would expect to see on a rose bush, where you've got those slight variations in shade. The next thing that I want to do is just work with this green. And so the green I'm putting on the dark side of the brush and the light on the light side. So we're not working with a white. We're going very much with the green and the soft pink. And you will see that this gives it a lovely subtle tone. And then for here, we're going to come out to the edge, back in, and I'm just going to do a slightly more like the ivy leaf in shape, and then out and come back. And just as if this is part of the bouquet. But look how beautiful those colours look. Really just sort of all of it blending together. And just going to draw your attention to this. So what I've got going on here is I've got a little blob of paint on the edge of that brush. You can see it really well just there. And when I then come and paint on here, it creates almost like a little ridge of paint. If you're getting these ridges, then it's because you are heavily loading your brush, and it's almost unconsciously side loading the bristles. So we do need to be conscious of that, and then just think about what our options are, which really at this point would be to go back and just take some of that paint off on your palette so that you can use it at another time. So let's just put that extra little leaf in, and I'm just going to have this one so that it just, we've got, there, I picked it up again, I've got that same thing happening, so just being careful there. I'm just going to pick up this and put a few little strands in, and we'll take this one round here too, and let's put ourselves a little bit of detail in. So we'll go on the other side, out to here, back in and round, and then pull that together. And then we've got these little leaves, and it's nice to see how they're literally coming round the design. It's not all just going in one direction. One of the things I'm working on quite hard at the moment is composition, to be able to really share some good ideas with you and making sure that we get these shapes that work for the designs that we're all building. So I'm just going to let that one go over the top, which means it needs to be strong in colour, which it does, and actually probably a little bit fresher with the green, so that would work better. So I'm going to go back over this one. So we'll do there, that works a little bit nicer. Put some little stems in that we've got there, and probably just another little one there, just to give us a bit more detail. Where can we come? We could come just out here, so I could come round there. And you can see I've sort of built myself a really nice flowing composition. So what we're going to be doing is working with these roses. I want to teach you the detail of them so that you've got the flow that we've got. So we've got these petals where it's the edge of the petal and the shading that's really making this part come to life. Then here we've got the vibrancy of that fuchsia pink. And then with this one, every part of it's tonal, it all sort of comes together. And then I'd just like to talk to you about the composition that we've got here. And the reason that I wanted to talk to you about compositions is because now we should be getting to the point where we're starting to lay down some of the design. So we're not automatically doing what I did here, where I painted the flowers, then I joined the leaves up to them. What we want to do is we want to get these leaves in place so that we don't have the gap between the flower and the leaf, and they are naturally overlapping each other. So by building yourself a composition, something like this, you can start to see where you might want to put a leaf down or where you might want to put one over the rose. So we can be thinking about the order that we paint in. And that's one of the things that I wanted to teach you in this class, is thinking about the layering and the composition, and by working with just 4 colours, how we can achieve some really clever design. Okay, everybody, so what we're going to do now then is I'm going to lay out the design and I'm going to teach you those strokes step by step. So for anybody who's been working on teaching guides, absolutely superb. That's what we want. For those of you that haven't, this will become a step-by-step class for you. So I want you to take a look at my brush at the moment, because there's so many things that are wrong with it. First of all, it's very fluffy on the end, which you can see. It also, I've got ridges of paint there, and those ridges are not attractive at all when it comes to painting. So we need to get that chisel edge back together, close these fluffy bristles, and get this so that it's nice and smooth. And the way to do that is to come onto this palette and to pull the bristles down. Now I'm just going to turn my palette so that you can see the angle that I've got my brush, because I am holding it right down. So those bristles are really pulling together. Look at how we've got them back being nice and smooth. Now, I want to talk to you about what happens with this ridge. So I'm just going to make this work. So in this palette, on this side of it, I've got a little ridge of paint. And as I'm laying my brush down, and if I turn it round this way, you'll see really well. As I'm laying my brush down, I'm sweeping up with this corner, I'm sweeping up and collecting up that paint. So I've now side loaded it. That isn't what we want when we're trying to paint these smooth shapes. So what I need to be doing is making sure that that isn't on the edge of the brush, because if it is, it's going to leave me an excess of paint on my flower. So that's the first thing that we need to be learning. Second thing is that this brush has been out a little while now. It's getting a little bit sticky. So to make this work, I am going to use just the tiniest drip of extender. Now, the reason that I wouldn't use my blending gel is because that actually will make it transparent. I could use the thickener, but I personally prefer the extender just because it also makes it a little bit more fluid, and that helps me too. So just going through this bag for a second. Beg your pardon, one moment. Take a quick sip of your tea if you're just watching. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to get a couple of little drips of my extender. And all I'm doing is I'm using that in the brush, and I'm just going to pull that through the bristles like that. So just, it's making that paint more liquid. And then I'm going to take off the excess. So instead of actually having a wet brush, I've just used my extender. And now I'm ready to pick up the green and that soft pink, the faded pink, and we're going to paint the first of our leaves. So the leaf shapes that we're going to be working with today are our flat leaf here. So that's one. I'm also going to show you it like this. So this one involves less of a turn. So the first one, I come up on the top, I'm turning the top of the range and then following through. And sorry, I turned my brush over there, so you've got a very pinky leaf, very pale leaf. So I'll just repeat that for you. So I'm turning the top and letting the green follow through. Now, if I were to start my brush at a different angle, so instead of starting there, I'm starting there, what you can do is just slide the brush and come back up on the chisel edge. I'm just going to show you, this is a really good little cheat. Slide like a diamond, come up on the chisel edge. So just do that once more for you. So slide like a diamond, come up on the chisel edge. Okay, so that's one of the shapes that we're going to be working with. Another one of those shapes is this one. So where we're going to wiggle out and stop. I'm going to then, this is another option for you. You can turn the brush over and you can create your wiggly leaf like that. And then we can do the same thing and create a wiggle there. So I'm going to come back out to there. Just going to pick up this and come into there. And then the final part of it would be coming down like that. And then that gets a stem all the way through. The quicker way of doing these little sort of almost ivy leaves, is to start here and wiggle out, stop and just pull the brush back, turn and wiggle down. Then on the other side, wiggle out, wiggle back, turn and wiggle down. And you can see a clear difference with the centre of the design, although the outsides are very, very similar. We need to do these stems. Now the stems are very important and you must get that chisel edge really sharp. And to do that, I like to use my little finger to support the design, and we're just going to slide the brush and let that cross over and then come round. So we've got that little bit of detail. And then we're going on to the rose. So before we start doing anything, let's put the first of those leaves in. Okay. Now, you might want to get yourself a little production line going. And I'm going to do that because what I want to do for you is when I finish this, I'm going to get one of the team to photocopy each of my images, and you can then see the step-by-step of how I built up this rose. Okay, so that should help you with your planning going forward. So let's get a third piece of card, and this way it means that you'll see each of these strokes 3 times. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the green and the pink. And let's take those colours together, and we're going to put a little flat leaf up here, and we're going to put one about here. Okay, that's the first of our strokes. So we need one about, just make sure you can see what I'm doing. So we need one about there and one about here. Now, if anybody's got any questions, please pop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them as we go along. I'm going to take, at one point we'll take just a couple of minutes break just for everybody to be able to clean down and get your brushes nice and clean. So one is going that way and one is going that way. So we've got 2 leaves on all 3 of my pages. Okay, not all identical, but pretty similar. Right, so that's our first step. Now, my brush is starting to feel a little bit sticky, and Well, actually it isn't, but I want to mimic this to be able to help you at home. So first of all, I'll take that scruffy brush out that I've got. And I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to clean it down. So I've got just a cup of water that I'm just cleaning my brush in. And you'll see that it's clean apart from this ridge that I've got up here, there. Now, if I don't clean this brush properly, that ridge, by the time that I've finished painting, will be quite a lot more, will be thicker and quite a lot more obvious. So I'm going to just show you how much paint I've left in this. So I've got a little bit of my brush cleaning gel, and I'm just going to work this into the brush. And I can already see where it's going to come out. And as I'm working it, you can see, there it is. There's the paint. It leaves a scum actually on the page, and it's pushing it right out from inside the bristles. So I can actually see the scum now appearing on the surface of my brush. So I'm just going to pick that up so you can see that it's really quite bobbly. Let's go back into the water. It isn't the cleanest of waters, but it will certainly get rid of those bubbles and that gel. And I'm just going to dry that brush off. And we should have taken before and after photographs, because what you'll notice now is, just got a little bit more of the gel still in there. Just get rid of that. What we'll notice, there we go. Look at how clean that is. So we've taken out that ridge that was across there, and it's nice and clean. So super happy with the results that I've got there. Okay, just making sure that it's properly dry. So squeezing the bristles between my piece of kitchen paper, and I'm good to go. Okay, so if your brush feels sticky, what you're going to do is you're going to stop and clean down, please, everybody. If your work starts to get sticky, then we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to stop and put out fresh paint. As a room rule of thumb, then we would normally let that paint be out for about half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. Now, I'm going to give you a moment so that you can get your paints out and you can start to paint along. You don't have to, you can watch this back, but I am literally just going to pause for a couple of minutes while you get your paints out and you can start to paint along. While we're doing that, I'm just going to ask if there are any questions, then please, everybody, pop them in the chat. It's Limonata, which is tastefully light, San Pellegrino. No gin. Andrew said, is it a can of Corona? No. So, right, everybody. So, have you got your colours out? And you've got those first couple of leaves painted. So, right, everybody's looking very, very thought-provoking. Okay, so we're going to start and put some more leaves on. So I'm going to think about where my buds are going to go. So I'm going to put one here, and one here. So as a rule of thumb, the bud is going to be about the length of my bristles that I've got in my brush. And I'm going to put one here, one there, and one there. So I know that if I've got a bud there, the leaf is going to come about here. So it's going to go about there. And that should give me the right position. So let's close these up for now and come back onto our palettes. So I'm going to pick up the green and the pink, those two colours, and let's work these. So that third leaf is going to go about here. Okay. And I'm going to put another one in a little bit here, just underneath that one, about there. So they're the next two that I've got in place. Now, I like to think that when I'm painting, the first time that I do the design, it's never quite as good as the second or third time, because you can, as you get better and you're anticipating the colour, you start to feel the paint better. And you really, you know, I think the second and third ones are always better. I'm just going to go over those because they're slightly pale. Let's get this one over as well. There. And then we had another one and it sort of came in a little bit just there. So I've got those in. And then I have got one more of these pages to do. So I'm going to do this next one. And it goes down there and one about there. Okay, so we've started to get those first of the leaves in. Now I'm going to put in a couple more, and I'm going to come down a little bit further this time. So these are my buds. So I've got a bud, a bud, a bud. Then I've got a larger flower, and then I'm coming down to the next one. So I'm going to come out almost diagonally to there, and I'm going to put two petals close together. So I'm just going to put that second one close in there, and then at a diagonal to this one, so down here, I'm going to put one down there. So here to there. Okay, so we'll put those in again, so it gives you another chance to see me doing these strokes. And so we've got two here. They're going slightly overlapping each other. Out of paint. There we go. And then almost diagonal to here. We've got two again. And it really does show you can't cheat that stroke work. If your brush doesn't have enough paint on it, you do have to get more paint. Okay, so let's go again. And so I'm going here, there, and then finally diagonal to here and here. Okay, so we've got the start of those flowers in. Now we're actually going to put the buds in next. So it's not the order that you will have expected to have worked in, but it's the order that I think works for what we're doing today. And this brush isn't going to work for us, so we do need to clean this down. So I'm going to take off that green and the light pink, and let's get rid of those. That then is going to get a nice clean. And it's interesting because I didn't wait and it hadn't built up ridges, I haven't got those lines of excess paint there that have been catching. And we've now got to think about which of these colours are going to work best for our buds. And I think it should be this bright one here. So I'm going to use that for the actual buds. So that means that we need the soft pink and the fuchsia. And this paint is just starting to get a little bit thick. So we'll go into the fuchsia, into the soft pink, and again, into the fuchsia, into the soft pink. Right, so the first one, we're going to go up and over and round and under. Let's do that once more, because we're going to go round and under again. So you can see that. This one, we're going to be quite in tight here, and we're going to go up and over and round and under. And can you now see how by placing those leaves down first, what a difference it's going to make to the design? And then I can come round like that. So we really are starting to think composition. So we're going to come up and over, round and under. I'm just going to go back once more, and let's get that round and over again. So we've got nice leaves. We'll do the same thing once more or twice more, so it gives you, you've got that extra bit of, oops, to mend that in a minute. I think, yeah, got a blob on the back. Right, so we're going to go up and over. Oh, not much light colour on the end of my brush, so let's pick a bit more up and make sure I've got that for here, because we want that light colour under there. And then we're going to come round. Oh, not enough brush loading. Let's come back there to there. Okay, let's go once more. And then we're going to do the same thing. So over this petal slightly, there and there, and then here, round there. I'm hoping by me painting this 3 times, it actually helps you, because you're seeing repetition, and you should be able to keep up with me with this. So, but don't worry if you can't, because you've got it to play back here. So look at those 3 little buds, really happy with the way that that sort of looks like they're meant to be together. Okay, and I've got one more of those to do. So I'm just going to place this here. And you might want to do this at home as well, because painting more than once, one at a time, does actually make you get more into the habit of that stroke work, because you're practicing it each time. You can see that I'm just not picking up enough paint on my brush, and it's really dragging. So making sure I've got more paint. Lovely. Really nice smooth work. So here, and part of this should be the enjoyment of actually doing the painting, not just feeling like we've got to go really quickly because it's a fast technique. So there, and again, once more over here. So up and over, round and under. And then just this last part, just there, that little bud. Okay, right, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to put one more stroke on a couple of the buds, and only on the ones that we can still go over. So this one, I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to wiggle that part of my brush. And I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to wiggle it like that. So I'm putting on an extra petal. And do the same on this one. So on each of them, you should be able to get to 2 of the petals. So that's one of them. And then this is the other. So like that. There. Okay. We come back onto this one. Again, so peaceful in here. It's lovely. So this one, we're going to go wiggle, put that back. And then, oops, let me just get that bit smoother at the bottom. And then this one, again, just there. Okay. Right, so we're ready now to do the next flower. Okay, so the next flower is going to be slightly smaller in size than these that I've painted here, but we need to start to think about the colour. And I'm planning that when we get right down to the bottom, we're in this shade. So up here, we could be in either of these two. So I think we'll start with this, moving gently into this one as we continue to paint. So we're going to start with the soft yellow and, the soft pink and the, and that fuchsia. And I'm going to start off and I'm just going to do myself an outline scallop, and you can see now how it's overlaying the outside of that flower. And this one, now when I pick up the paint, I'm picking a little bit of that Sedona up, so you can see it on the edge of my brush there. If I just push this up, you can see how I'm blending it in, and I'm now just going to sort of come out a little bit and then keep those wiggles, and I'm making them quite flat. So this rose isn't very rounded, it's more oval in shape. And then we're just going to get those little bits in there. Let's get that bit of it. It's a bit fluffy on the edge, so I wanted it a bit nicer. I'm quite happy with that shape. But now look at my brush. Ugh, yuck. So we're ready to pull all this paint down. So let's pull that paint right down the brush and look at it now. Lovely. Ready for me to paint with. So there, and I'm going to pick up that Sedona. Put those two colours on. Let's get this blended nicely. And we'll just put in another layer of petals. Just a really small layer. Don't forget to keep using a little bit of that pink, and we're just going to go up and over, round and under. So we've got a very flat flower, but then we're just going to come round here, there, and let's go round and up there. So it's nice and flat. It's not too big, but it's got nice shape. And at this stage, I would like to get some smaller petals in here. So I'm going to change down my brush from a number 18 to a number 16. And we'll just pick up a little bit of two colours. So we'll go with this very light pink, the faded pink and Sedona. I'm just going to pick those two colours up. Get that blended nicely. And just want to go in here and get that shape back, because I felt like it was a little bit lost. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, so we've got one in, let's put the next one in. So we're here, and we're going into the faded pink and into that darker pink, or the stronger shade. And this one, again, it's going to come up here, and we're going to go up there, up and over this bit, and we can go round, oops, maybe go a bit up there. Let's get some more of that soft pink, and there, maybe round a bit, and we'll go a bit round here, a little bit, whoops, get that paint there. There we go. So petals a little bit skew, but I think that's okay. And slightly softer colour, a little bit of a shape at the top just to bring some extra dimension in. Then we're going to go up and over, round and under. I'm going to swap brush sizes because I think I'll get a better shape with a smaller brush. So let's go over that again, up and over, round and under. Definitely helps having a smaller brush there. So picking a little bit of the white, the pale pink, we're working as my light colour. So, oh, look at that. I could have had that big amount of paint literally down on my work and that wouldn't have helped me at all. So luckily I stopped and saw it in time. And then like this, push round and shape, push round and shape. So nicer again. So let's go to this one. So my third one, so we'll go in once more. Again, I need to pull the paint down on this brush and it's a little bit sticky. So tiniest little bit of extender, not to make the colours blend, but just to make the brush flow the tiniest bit, but it is getting ready for a good clean. So we'll go up here and round here, then out slightly to the side, and then we've got a little bit more here, lost the pink, so I need that lighter colour there, and then there. Then if we remember, we went into the middle and just did an extra little layer of petals that were just like this. I don't like that, so I'm going to go back over it, get something a little bit nicer, looks better. Then we'll go into the middle and we'll just go here, up and over, round and under. I think I'm going to swap brush sizes again. Got a better result by going slightly smaller. So we'll go over and under. Yep. And then just to pop these side petals in, I'm just going to go under there once more. Round and in, round and in. Okay, so this one ended up a little bit bigger, but there are the three that I've done. I hope that at this speed, if you are painting along, you're able to keep up. Okay, right, I'm just going to pause for a moment while we clean down our brushes. So let's get these brushes cleaned and we're good to go once more. I am going to put some fresh paint out. So I'm just going to dry off my brushes. Pop those there. Get myself another cello bag, all getting recycled. And let's clean this down. So I'll let that go. Oops. I think that was some packaging from a birthday present from one of the children. I had to be careful with it because it had got little holes in it, you know, the breathe holes that they put in for safety holes for when it's a child's product, and got to make sure that the paint didn't go through the holes. Okay, so we're going to dry off these brushes. Make sure that they're dry. And if I was at home, you know, make sure you've got a couple of pots of clean water so that you don't end up with your water getting muddy. And we're going to put the light colour out. Here's our pink. I think I've got that on my fingers. Oh, I have. Gosh, okay, where's that brush cleaner? So let's get a little bit of this. Oops. Just get that off the brush. Yeah. we go. That's 2. Here's our 3rd, and the green. Okay. So the green is the next colour that we're going to paint. So first of all, a little bit of green and the light pink on your brush. So I'm just going to put that, let's put it just here. And I'm getting it in now because I think one of these petals from the flower is going to catch this green. So we want to be sure that we've already got it in. Okay, then this one, I'm going to go here and here. And on this one, well, the first thing I'm going to do here is a repair. So let's have a look at if we can repair that. That's fine. And then up here, I need one there, a bit more paint. Sorry, just one there and one here. Now, you will refine your painting even more as you continue to extend your painting experience. And what will happen is you'll change brush sizes more often. You will do lots more different sort of pieces of work. But this, at least, is a great way of us taking it step by step and seeing the way the process grows. So I'm just going to get rid of the green that's on this brush. Make sure that that's nice and dry. And this time we're going to paint with that faded pink and the Sedona. So faded pink, Sedona, you're my 2 colours. And then side load that fuchsia. And this one is going to go here. So you can see how I'm just catching the edge of that leaf and I'm catching the edge of this leaf. And it really does start to make a difference when you plan out your design so that you can have the petals so that they're where you need them to be. So I'm just going to go out here so you can see that leaf behind working really well. I'm going to go out here. Again, you can see that leaf working well. And we're just going to finish off with one more petal just there, finishing in that design. But there, looking really, so it's bringing in those colours and literally filling in the design. Okay, so I'm going into the faded pink and Sedona and a side load of that other pink. And this time we're going to put a layer of petals all the way round to get some extra just dimension into this. I'm just going to go here and just there. And then once you're happy with it, which I pretty much am now, I'm just going to put that bud in there, coming here. Oh, let's go a little bit more. So a little bit there, and I'm going to come round here, around here. There we go. We're starting to see that coming together. But the biggest difference you'll be noticing is the way that these petals are now positioned. If you look at previous work, you'll see how we've come on quite a long way from there. So I'm just going to get this little bit of paint from between my fingers. There we go. Right, so another one. So let's repeat the process. So we're going the light pink and then the stronger pink, and this one is going here, here, we're going there and there, light pink again, here Great. And then one more. So nicely finished. Another row of petals. Coming in here. And here. And here. Let's go there, there, and there. And slightly more, that lighter colour. We're going to go up here and round, round again. And if you feel you want to go round a second time, you know, that's entirely up to you. You'll get a feel for your painting, for how much you want it to, how full you want it. So, looking nice. I'm going to repeat that one more time for you. So, into my light and my Sedona. These colours, that faded pinks, beautiful shade. Then here and here. Let's get it into that part. Then side loaded that stronger pink, which you can see coming in there. Get these petals in. There we go. I'm going to go round a second time. So we've got a second row there. So nice to do. And then here. And then that last little bit. Now we have got some new colours coming in January, which I think is quite exciting. Looking forward to having some new shades to work with. So I'm just putting in that extra little bit there. You can see how that really just lifts that centre. And then we go. So we've got the 3 designs that we've done. It's a very pretty pink, lovely pink flowers. I'll just bring you that one in as well. Now we're ready to do our last flower, which is going to go down here. It's giving us a time check. So we've been an hour, so we're doing really good for time. So these are the 2 colours that we're going to be working with this time, and I'm really pulling that paint down so I've got it nice and smooth and creamy. Right, so we're going to go, let's work out where we're going to go. So first of all, I'm going to go there, then here. Let's get this. Then I'm going to go here, painting in the opposite order to the one. Let's see where that goes. Lovely. So really lovely. So we've got that really nice pink, and you can see this sort of little story that's going on and how beautifully this is all coming together. Okay. Now, another little tip for you. When you pick your paint up, sometimes you may have the paint on the brush, but you haven't blended it on your palette. You can blend on your work. It doesn't always turn out as smooth, so you can see it's slightly more liney there, but it is something, particularly when you're up a ladder and you're doing walls, then it's something that I do tend to do occasionally. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now I'm looking at which way these buds are going. I've got one going that, I've got them going in 3 different directions. I've got that one following that one, this one coming up here. I'm going to take this one out to this side. So I'm going to take it here. So it started to get a completely different sort of angle to the others. And we can come in here and here. Okay, let's go with this one. So in here, How's everybody getting on? You remembering to clean those brushes? Yep, keep them brushes clean. And we must have changed our paint. We should have changed it once at least. So, and I hope you can all see lots of improvement from when you first started to now, which is, and I know sometimes you get worse before you get better. That's absolutely okay, and it's quite normal. You're not on your own there. I remember when I first started thinking, gosh, if I don't get any better than this, I've gone backwards. Well, you know, that does happen. You go one step forward, 2 steps backwards, and then suddenly you're taking 5 steps forward and 1 step backwards, and you realise that you are actually really starting to make progress, which is why I'd always encourage you to date your work and date it and literally date it and keep all the details. Now, my cheeky producer, the lovely Andrew, who one day I am going to get down here and I'm going to do his job and you're going to watch while he does mine. He actually was laughing because he just said, I haven't got any better in the last 6 months, which is probably a shame, really. Good job his camera work has. He's laughing at me. So just, it's nice that you know we're a team up here, though, that, you know, we're not all by ourselves. Interestingly, we're just getting everything ready for the academy, which is going to be starting to be decorated and built properly in the new year. And so I'm looking at building in the classes, and we're working on dates in April for our first lot of painting classes. And it's quite scary because as I look at them, I think, wow, you know, this is ages away. And actually, it really isn't ages away at all. It's so close. So you can see here. So just while I'm talking to you about that academy classes, we'll be doing classes here where you can come for half a day, you can come for a whole day, and you'll be able to also come for 2 days. And we've got some absolutely lovely little B&Bs and country house hotels out and about, as well as obviously the ones in Chesterfield city centre, but we're only a few minutes from there, and this will just be such a nice break for anybody who wants a really creative holiday. I'm looking forward to seeing lots of people next year. And we're not just doing painting classes either. We'll be doing fabric, upholstery, we're doing scan and cut, we've got stamping. I mean, you name it, and we're going to be doing it. So it is very exciting. Right, okay. So here, I'm not worrying that I've got this bit of black to cover, because when I do my stroke there, you can plan to cover that piece, and then that one goes up there. So now we've got the bulk of the design done, and you can see how important it was to put those leaves behind. What I'm going to do now is I'm picking up the green actually where the red the fuchsia was, and I'm picking up the soft colour. So I'm just going to now put in a few more little leaves. I'm going to think about where they're going to go. So I'm going to put one in just there. I'm going to put one in here, and let's do that wiggle, which we talked about at the beginning. So we're just going to go up and back and just in there. Now, while I've got this brush with these lovely browny tones on from the pink and the green, I'm going to come back on my palette and go to the other paintings and get these done. So this leaf is now going to go over there. So, and then this one is going to go up there. And this one is going to come out and back to there. And then this side out, drag back. and to here. So you can see how that's come in. And then I've got my third one, which is just here. And so we've got this leaf here. So that's one. We've got one that's going to go there. And then this one, which has come out and back. And then here it'll come out and back in just there. So we're now at the point where we've got the main body of the picture in, so we need to do some changes in brush sizes. So I'm going to go down quite small, so I'm going down to a number 10, and I'm going to pick up the light and the green. We're going to fill in with some little different strokes. So coming from here, I'm going to go out like that, and I'm going to put some little leaves on it. So I'm going to go like this and like, oops, that one didn't go very well, and like there. So we've got sort of like a little stem that's coming over the top. So let's do that again. So from here, with the stem of the brush, I'm going to go out, out and out. And we're going to go with a little leaf there, one here, one there. So it looks like that stem's coming out from where it is. Then I'm going to go again on here. So I'm going to go out, 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 extend that one a little bit. And we're going to go here, here, and here. And then we're going to start off, we're going to put some ferns in. And to do that, we need you need to side load the pink, the green, and that faded pink, because we want this to be quite brown. So we need the greens and the pink to go together. We're just going to put a little bit of fern in. So we're just sort of making this our bouquet. Okay, that's the first part. We're going to do a little bit of it here. Make sure you keep this chisel edge together. If it isn't, this isn't going to work. So really come back and get that chisel edge together. So keep the light and the green. That bit of pink that we put in at the beginning should help. So again, here, so this is how we're going to hide this part of this stem. Go over the rose like that. Bit of the green in here. I'm going to go this way with the green. And then make sure the colour changes so that when you go over this leaf, it's not lost. So there you go. So you can see, just change that colour a little so it's there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of it just here. Just like that. See the difference it's made, bringing those two together. Big difference. So let's do that once more for you. So here with the green, and that pink is on the edge. So we're going to go up here. We're just going to keep this going. Make sure that the colour doesn't get too lost. If it does, pick some more of one of the other shades up to get it all in colour. So again, we got This one, it's just a very small amount. Notice how my little fingers on the page, just holding this in place, keeping everything together. Side loading that pink, pulling that chisel edge. We're going to have another one in here. And we're layering up the design. So if that's some of that black space is getting filled, you can see how we're getting lots of different layers to our design, which is the effect that we want. This one comes across. Again, this is the one I've got to think about my colour. So make sure that it's lighter or contrasting. So it's working. And we're just going to put a tiny one here, just going round a little bit, just so that there's some colour on this side. Here. A little bit more of that green into there. Okay, that's our second one. Let's do our third. So should be, I'm hoping you're keeping up with me with the speed that I'm painting at, though by giving you these extra opportunities to see the whole thing a second and third time. So just really be interested in some feedback, everybody, as well. You know, if you think this is a good way of us working, me being able to let you see. So let's get this in. Really love the way that, you know, we've got these buds in this lovely little composition up here. It's so delicate and so effective. This one. So lots of elements where you're seeing us filling in. And we've got some really, I'm painting a year of flowers at the moment. So daffodils and tulips and bluebells, snowdrops, some wild roses, some really pretty new cabbage roses, doing some single roses on stems. What else am I doing? Trying to think what else I've done. Some hydrangea, sort of like the big baubles of hydrangeas, and some of those. You've got some berries, blackberries. I've done some blackberries. So I've got a whole year of foliage and flowers coming out in the spring, which I think is going to be exciting. And lots more painting next year with different shades, different colours. We've got different techniques we're going to try as well. So not just sticking to this, but we'll be doing a lot of work double loading our brushes, because that's obviously one of the things that makes such a difference. You can see here, this fern wouldn't look anything like as good if we weren't just double loading brushes. Okay, so how are we doing now for time, Andrew, please? Okay, so we've got 10 minutes just to go back in and look at where we need to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick up the that faded pink and the green and just look at where there's anywhere where it could just do with another layer on top of this fern. And you can see just by putting that fresh little tone on, definitely has added something to that one. I think that we can definitely do something here as well. So let's do this one. So yeah, just that, it's just another layer of colour and shading and highlighting, which makes a difference. So just go back into there. And then I've got another one here that I know will make a difference. So I'm looking at this one and seeing some areas that I think we could definitely improve. So here, just get that, keep that brush chisel edge really sharp. It makes such a difference. Let's put that extra little bit of colour in there. Okay. Right, so I'm liking what we've got so far. Now, I'm going to go in and put some tiny little flowers. And what we're going to do for that is we're going to use the green and the faded pink. And this is really delicate. And I want you to then go off like this. And we're just... Right, I'm just going to put this little thing in, and then what I'll do is, so I'm just literally touching the page with that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this. I'm just literally touching the page and making this little bit of fluff, as I'm going to call it. I'm just going to touch it like that. And I'll do here now. Hadriana's asking about tips for side losing, and I'm going to just share with you a couple of things in a second. I'll just finish this little bit and I'll give you a few little tips there. So I've just put those in. I'm just going to get Andrew to come right overhead while I do this one. So I don't know whether we could, no, you can't see, can you? So I'm just going to all I'm doing is putting in some little sprigs, and these little sprigs are going just, so I'm doing a line and then I'm doing a couple of lines off it, if that makes sense. So we've got them like that, and I want a line and a couple of bits off it. And let's do a bit over here. So a line and then bits off, and a line, bits off, a line, bits off, bits off. So I'm just sort of getting the lines off another line, really. So like this, and this is the last one, and then we'll do that side loading for you. So up, and then line, 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 off, 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 off. And then I'm really hoping that some of you will get the chance to come and do face-to-face classes, because we've done amazingly this year with Zoom. But I also know for some people having, face-to-face classes is the thing that really does make a difference. But you guys have done a great job with getting this far. So really, really delighted. Everybody's sort of had a go and got stuck in and kept up with it. Okay, right, so just filling in those little gaps. Okay, now I'm going to use my scruffy brush, and I'm just going to use the pink and the tiniest bit of green. So we're going to go pink and green, pink. You can see where I'm going, and I'm putting a littlest bit of green in there, as if there's little buds coming through. And then we're going to go here, green, break that up. There we go. So that's that one. So this one, let's get a little bit more of both. So a little bit of gypsophila just here. So I'm very fortunate that tomorrow I get the opportunity to go and have a holiday, which I'm absolutely thrilled about, because not only is it my chance to do a lot of designing for next year, but also a lot of sleeping too. So I'm back at I'm back about the 10th of December, so I will be able to literally catch up with you all straight after then. And I know that we're going to make sure we get at least one more free class in before Christmas. So, you know, we'll get the details and all the dates and everything there. And next year we'll be doing more of that, because I just want to keep you guys painting. Now you've started, it's so addictive, and everybody's done such a fantastic job that I think the least we can do is keep you all going. So we'll do that. But thank you everyone who's been on today's class, because it's been lovely to have such a nice small intimate group, and a lot of really familiar faces as well. So I wish, if I don't get the chance to see you individually before Christmas, I'd like to wish you a really happy Christmas. But here we go. So you can see what we've got. A little bit heavy here. I'm not happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some green, and I'm just going to dot in some green to break up that colour. You can see how that's just broken it up a tiny bit. So let me hold these up for you. Is that the best thing to do, Andrew? Or leave them, or just leave them here? Okay, so you can see they're very, very similar in style with what we've done. Slight differences, but all of them giving us those different finishes that we wanted. And I would be using this to go down the edge of a card. So over the edge, cut away this side so that this goes over the edge of the card. Right, let's just do a bit of brush loading before we finish this session. So side loading. Okay, when we are loading our brush from scratch, we dip in 2 triangles like that, and we're using that angle. When we're side loading, I've changed that angle. My hand is much, much lower. So instead of dipping, I'm side loading really low down, and I'm just swiping the very side of it. And a good thing to do is to practice this, but practice it so that you get the tiniest little bit. So you can see those 2 loaded brushes. Just practice pulling the tiniest bit. But I suspect you're side loading like that, and that then pulls not only the bristles in, but it also gets you almost a triangle of colour on the other side. So give that a go, pulling it down really low. Or alternatively, one of the other things you can do is you can side load by pulling it into the side of the paint like that. So like if I just show you on this one, so just pull it into the side of the paint like that. Okay, so hope that helped you. Next time I'll see you, I'll look 10 years younger, be tanned and well rested. No, I don't know about the 10 years younger, but certainly tanned and well rested, I hope. And in the meantime, massive thank you everyone for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure, such a relaxing and enjoyable session. And take care everyone. And if I don't see you before Christmas, God bless and see you in the new year.